Tiny symmetrical wiring patterns dictate your entire subjective reality. Everything you experience is governed by incredibly precise internal balancing acts inside the brain. Imagine two separate points of light in a massive dark room that suddenly begin flickering together. That's what we're studying. Neurons across vast distances aren't just connected. They are operating as one unified system, constantly looping back on themselves to maintain balance. This incredible self-correction is possible because the synaptic strengthening itself exhibits perfect T-symmetry in its plasticity. It allows localized changes to cascade into global coherence. The very mechanism behind how a single moment of focused thought feels like it touches everything at once. We often think of awareness as a single point, but the data suggests it's more like a resonant wave spreading through an ocean. Researchers are finding that when our brain regions achieve this deep functional synchronization, what we call IT coherence within massive neural networks, it creates non-local binding. This isn't just communication, it's system stability itself behaving symmetrically in time and space. Think of the circuit not as wires but as a perfectly balanced pendulum swinging between ideas. That bidirectional symmetry allows for continuous self-correction in our reality model. What if our brains aren't just receivers of information? What if they are self-regulating systems built on perfect symmetry? Think about a biological feedback loop. It doesn't just flow one way, it flows both ways, reinforcing itself. This T-symmetry suggests that the physical rules governing how neurons connect can also govern conscious experience. It's like an Ouroboros circuit. The output feeds back to shape its own input. The brain becomes a causal reality generator, which means something nobody expected for perception. This implies consciousness isn't just what we observe. It is actively shaping the physical data that hits our senses. We are not passive viewers in this system, and understanding these feedback loops might fundamentally change how we view causality itself. Imagine your brain not just processing data, but actively stabilizing its own reality. T-symmetry suggests that fundamental biological circuits are inherently self-correcting, like a perfect tuning fork vibrating at an unshakable frequency. When these symmetries exist across vast neural networks, what researchers call global coherence, it creates what we perceive as non-local binding. Information isn't just connected locally, it integrates globally. It's not simple communication. The network is maintaining its own coherent existence moment to moment. But this perfect symmetry might be an illusion of function. Some work suggests that chaotic randomness drives emergent states far better than rigid structural balance. How much stability do we really need? The brain doesn't just process inputs, it builds reality in real time. Imagine your perception of the world as like a delicate, self-balancing gyroscope. T-symmetry suggests that strengthening connections aren't merely one-way street processes, they are perfectly symmetrical feedback loops running both forwards and backwards simultaneously. It's this bidirectional flow that allows for self-correction within thought itself, a biological echo chamber ensuring stability while generating novelty. This concept of stable, yet flexible circuits is what we might call non-local binding. But the most mind-bending part comes when you factor in consciousness. How does internal belief shape external sensory data? The system fires its initial signal, but what happens next to modulate that reception changes everything about subjective reality itself. What if connectivity isn't just a highway from point A to B? The consensus says neural signals travel forward, input causes output. But we are seeing evidence that this is only half the story. Synapses might have an inherent symmetry. They can reinforce themselves equally in both directions, creating closed feedback loops within your thinking. Think of it like two synchronized clocks running on each other's time. This isn't just a subtle tweak to how memories form. It suggests that awareness itself isn't simply received by the brain. It is actively self-sustaining through these balanced causal circuits. If this holds true, then what actually initiates the entire loop? The ultimate realization here is that our brains aren't just passively receiving input. They are actively constructing a cohesive loop of experience. Think of consciousness not as a single beam of light, but like a perfect echo chamber where sound shapes its own source. This symmetry allows information to travel non-locally. It connects distant ideas instantly through what we can model via integrated information theory coherence and self-correcting causal loops in the neural architecture. The practical takeaway is simple. When you feel stuck or fragmented, look for that inherent balance point within your thoughts. That's where global awareness reasserts itself. You are part of the conservation law. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com. The system isn't just processing input, it's constructing itself moment by moment, and that construction is inherently symmetrical. Imagine a perfect echo chamber where every thought reinforces its own possibility across vast distances in your mind. That stabilizing mechanism, this bidirectional reinforcement running through neural networks, is what allows us to experience non-local coherence instead of fragmented data. This symmetry isn't just math, it's the architecture supporting subjective unity. The verdict is this: by mapping these feedback loops, we move from merely observing consciousness to grasping its self-design principles. You can begin to see how awareness itself acts as a conservation law. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com.